Hello everyone and welcome to the STPL. My name is Kix. Unfortunately it looks like might be just us today, but that's fine. If Rapid does wake up then it's okay, but if he's asleep then he does deserve that rest. So I was actually looking to my far left, but I moved chat closer so I can kind of see it now. But we're going into a couple of cool games of STPL today. We're going to see first of all Net Wars versus aSh, where Radley will go against his old team. I'll explain that a little bit when we get to his match, but it's going to be interesting to see how this new and improved aSh does against the sort of older one, because obviously older aSh have had a few problems, but they've added a lot of new players recently. They've added Dreamer, Logan, Radley as well, and they've also just recently picked up Kingdom as well with the disbandment of BWL. That's a little bit unfortunate, but let's have a quick look at how things are going as we have a look at this week's maps. You know what, I'm going to double check that that's definitely showing this week's maps, and it's not. I didn't use it at all last week, but we'll go through it quickly. We're on week 4 now, so they're going to have a few more maps to go through. So here we go. Let's have a look. We're going to start off on Eye of the Storm. Gonna head into Great Barrier Reef for set 2. Set 3 is gonna be on Fortress SE. And next time I make these videos, I'm gonna make them come in a little bit quicker. Set 4 is on Neo Chain Reaction. And set 5, if we get there in the ace match, is gonna be over on La Mancha. So looking forward to seeing a game on there if we can get to it. But obviously we're a way off just yet. We're just getting started. Let's actually have a look at the group rankings for Group A, because I've not actually shown this for a little bit, but all the results are up to date now. BWL are actually 0-12. There's an additional game I need to add on there. They did unfortunately disband, so every single one of their games until now and moving forward till the end of round 4 will be a 4-0 walkover. So BWL are out of the tournament. They apparently had a load of activity issues. They couldn't get enough players to even fill a lineup, so they just disbanded. So it looks like Rapid is here. Cool. Let's get him in. And we can understand completely because it is 5 AM. So. Hey Rapid.
Hello.
Welcome.
Why, hello there. How's it going?
Yeah, not bad. You?
I'm doing pretty well. What's up?
Yeah, not much. We're just casting STP. Casting
Okay,
STPL.
sorry.
But yeah, it's cool. You know what? I mean, it's 5 AM, so I'll give you a pass. Like that's cool. If you
I was actually just in the other room and I turned my speakers on, but I didn't have it on the right speakers, so my bad.
Fair enough. Cool. Let's have a quick look at the player rankings just to see how much they've changed. Yeti up until now has been number 1 since round 1, but the wall has popped in, taken over, seeing today at least that there's a couple of players from Net Wars who are going to be one of our first teams here in that top 10. Koget's not going to be playing today, but Yeti most certainly is. And let's quickly have a look at both the team intros to introduce both our first couple of teams. Unable to get Hive, the final units from Cadenti actually going in, not even managing to kill a single tank. Great D-matrixes by Koget, and unfortunately it looks like this is going to be the end of the game. The carapace upgrades are not going to finish. GG! The last race is going to go down, and this is such a good usage of that spell, good usage of the Ghost by Radley for this. Now he's trying to clean it up, but this is too many 3-0 tanks against 2-0. That's not going to be enough for him. GG! Yeah, there's absolutely nothing Praise can do. Sai put up a good fight, but Zero taking down Praise here. GG! And all of Hermon's army is evaporated. I mean, we see Hermon with that bottom left base starting to mine as well. But he's running left to an observer, and GG! Still, there's 7 dragoons even, I can't count. The math is not much wrong by today, but this is all of the tanks that Kimflex has. And this counterattack could win the game.
I think
yes,
that's it. Damn.
It's short.
Take the inevitable win.
Yeah, no, I genuinely was surprised that after a failed 2-fact opening, he actually managed to pull this off, but he did a great job and showing he's got very strong PvP. His TVP very strong last time as well. He didn't really take down the wall. It looks like GG. You know, Faust is mining behind the minerals. He just wants some money. But we got 5. Whoa, that's like 8 zealots now, and that's gonna be too much. GG.
On everything, so we're gonna see a lot of Stacies, and here we go, running the.
This is a good engagement here for Alex.
And yeah, where are these Stasis coming through? He's got to hit that big clump of tanks at the bottom. He's running the Arbiters in, but he's not Stasising. Okay, there's one. Needs maybe another one. The Zealot count is actually running out pretty quickly. Another scan because he did Stasis the Science Vessel, but GG timing. There's still about 49 supply. Hit him up, doubling his opponent with very high upgraded mech, and that's going to do it. GG taps out. Wow. Hit him up, and aSh take out Media.
It's showtime.
Okay, so there we have it. It's going to be NetWars versus aSh. Now, NetWars have been one of the strongest teams so far. They've come 2nd place twice, 3rd place in round 1 as well. So they've not missed a playoff so far. You can see in the standings for round 4 at the moment, they're actually not in the playoff position. So this game is going to be very, very important for them. It's also going to be important for aSh, because if aSh can manage to get a win here with their kind of new and improved roster, then maybe we could see aSh in the playoffs a little bit later on in the round. It depends obviously how the next games go. But
yeah, I don't know which would be more. Yeah, I don't know which would be more surprising: aSh in playoffs or NetWars not in playoffs. Honestly, not seeing NetWars in playoffs, like, just what planet are we living in? They're absolutely one of the best teams in STPL, so I expect to see them maybe step it up a little bit. We'll see how things go here. I mean, you can just look at sort of the total wins to see what to expect out of these teams historically, but certainly things do look a little bit different for them now in round 4.
Yeah, so let's actually have a look at today's rosters to see what matches we're going to have, and I'm already going to mark what match is going to be my favourite one, because I've been waiting for this all week. So we're going to start with a PvP between Yeti and Dreamer. We're going to go into a ZVP between True Touch and Jax. Then we're going to have a ZVT between Kingpin and Logan. And then finally, we are going to have a PvT between Bonneth and Radley.
And I don't blame you for highlighting Bonneth versus Radley as the key matchup of the day, just because I think that the biggest thing that I'm watching out for is, can we get to that 4th game and have it be meaningful, right?
Yeah.
Because one of the strengths of NetWars is they run usually their strongest roster every single time. So you're going to get Yeti, Bonneth, and True Touch like 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
And so it's all about how that matches up. And I think that Bonneth versus Radley, has a chance to be an actually amazing game.
Yeah, now I know that Radley was preparing for this match super hard because he wants to prove that he's still a good player. He's obviously not the top level of foreigners, but he's still got really creative plays, and he was really worried about playing on Neo Team Reaction against Bonneth, but he's going to be looking to get his first win for his new team here, and we'll have to see how that goes. Now, let's actually introduce our first couple of players. One player here is going to be no surprise to anybody who's seen the STPL before. It's Yeti. He's 2nd overall in the top 10 of players. He's beaten so many really, really good players. I mean, the last player he beat was actually in the last time he played actually was in the finals of round 3, where he took down Buell in a PvT on Athena 2. That was like a super late game, 40-minut PvT or something. So he's definitely a really, really good Protoss player. I mean, just look at his opponent or versus opponent race stat. He's 12 for 3 against Protoss. It's just ridiculous.
Well, yeah, specifically that, because when you have PvPs, you're just like, okay, well, I'm really good at playing. I'm so good at playing my mirror matchup that nobody else can play my race as well as I can. Yeti is absolutely one of the best players on this team, and until a couple weeks ago, he was the #1 winningest player in STPL until DeWalt just passed him.
Yeah, and DeWalt was actually the person who overtook him, and part of that reason was he did beat Yeti in a PvP on Katrina SE near the end of round 3. The funny thing about that game is Radley spoke to me about it afterwards. He was like, DeWalt got really, really lucky. Like, there was about 8 or 9 Dragoon shots that missed, and if they would have hit, they probably would have won the game. So, kind of crazy there, but his opponent going to be Dreamer for aSh was on MSJ in round 3, but when MSJ quit the STPL, Dreamer switched teams, made his way onto aSh, and he's here now. He's not had the most winningest record, as you would say. He's kind of been outsportsed at many times, but he's come back in round 4 with a renewed sense of optimism to see how he can do as we get into our first map here, which is going to be Eye of the Storm. Okay, so Eye of the Storm is going to be our map here. It is a mirror match, so there's not really too much to say. There's actually, I mean, pretty much the only thing you can say is it's very good for shuttles and very good for just general PvP shenanigans. We've not had a PvP here as of yet, so this is going to be our first, and let's see how it's going to play out as we get into game number 1, as I hit the actual start button on the game because I'm not quite there yet. But we can load into the game anyway, and we'll see you guys on the other side. Okay, starting us off here in the bottom right-hand position, we do have the purple Protoss fighting for aSh. It's Dreamer.
And on the other side of the map, in the red, playing for the Polish clan Net Wars, this is Yeti.
One thing I will say about PvP, we've been here a lot over the past, been nearly a year, but like, I actually checked because I was trying to find something out, and I think the first game of the STPL was played on like the 18th of March, so it's nearly been an entire year since we started.
It's crazy.
We have seen so many PvPs that I have to admit, and this is going to sound completely forced, but genuinely, I went from hating PvP to actually liking it now. I really do like PvP, and I don't know why. It's just really fun to watch.
Oh yeah, so PvP, while we were having our stint of less than 6-minute games, PvPs amounted to actually quite a few of them, because it was just 3K versus DT. I know I saw personally at least 3 of those kind of games, so it's just like, well, you know, when you're doing that, it's like, you know, you don't really get a chance to get a feel for actually what the matchup can offer.
Yeah.
So it's very very volatile, I think it's safe to say, for sure. So especially when you get a little bit of a mismatch, then you just have a one player walk up with one more Dragoon and win the game.
Yeah, we saw that a few times with the Walt and Yeti as well. One thing people will say about Yeti's record in the STPL, and I know this got brought up when people were deciding on the FBW tier list that people were coming up with, was a lot of Yeti's games in PvP were kind of mismatched skill-wise. But even then, like the good players he played against as well, he did pretty good against. It's just, PvP and ZVZ especially, I think it's like the 2 matchups where it's like if one player is just better than the other one, it's just the game ends so quickly. But when you do get 2 evenly matched players, I mean, once again we're seeing mirror builds. Like mirror builds in a mirror. Like this happens every single time now.
Yeah, especially, well, I mean, you look at like the other mirror matchups, right? So you got ZVZ, right? There's actually like a little bit of variation to the way that you open in ZVZ. TVT, you know, maybe it's the same, but like nobody really cares because it's all going to get to the same place, right?
Yeah.
Unless you cheese. But PvP, like, it is very rock, paper, scissors in a lot of ways. And while usually it just sort of washes out as being basically even, one of the reasons that it is always basically even is because when you go for the rock and the paper and the scissors, like, things just end abruptly. So, Yeah, it is. It is a little bit strange, and just to I guess talk specifically about the builds in general, you'll have like an early number of gateways, right? So that can differentiate it. So you either start one gate and go into Cybercore, or you can have two gates, and that's how you're really like putting on the pressure, right?
Yeah.
And then like beyond that, you can go up to three gates, and then you mix in some DTs or Reavers or whatever. It gets a little bit crazy, but you're right, Kicks. We're seeing basically the same exact build
Yeah,
this time.
the big difference is we don't actually see range coming in for Yeti yet,
what?
so Yeti's going to be teching quite quickly behind this, saving his gas.
Ooh.
Oh, he's actually hiding it, so he's going to get it after the probe leaves the base. I mean, that can be a clever idea.
Yeah.
Yeti did put all of his pylons in the vision of the probe, but I mean, it still could symbolize that he's going to do something funky. Now, I don't know whether we are going to see that. Yeti has played pretty well. It was a nice snipe on the probe by that one zealot, but Yeti usually plays quite standard. Like, we've not seen anything too crazy from him, but I mean, we're bound to see at least some tech. I really doubt we're going to see a Nexus.
Yeah, I would doubt that as well. I don't think that throwing down a Nexus in PvP is just the scariest thing you can do. Like you just hold on. Like it's not just a Nexus; it's a Nexus and 3 shield batteries and pylon wall. There's a whole infrastructure because it's just so hard to get that down. So because it's 4 zealots, so it just takes quite a long time to make that up. So. Yeah, I think that for now, I think the biggest thing that we saw was that little hidden range, but also it's a much slower robo for
and slower range
Yeti
so
well.
It's a little bit unfortunate, but that probe in his base was in there a very long time. He actually ran his zealot out of his base to kind of let the Dragoon deal with it, but Dreamer did a really good job of keeping that probe away from the Dragoon, so looks like we are going to see a little bit of a push in by Yeti. Can he actually jump in before range is done? Looks like he's going to get a good number of hits on one of those Dragoons, but will have to pull back. This is a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, let's check the Zealot micro. Oh my goodness, it's so much better for Dreamer. Dreamer is crushing, Dreamer's crushing it.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. Wow, he owned that fight so hard. A little bit of lack of micro there on the Dragoon, but like that is absolute ownage. So now on the other side, Yeti's got to be in not panic mode, but he's got to think, uh-oh, he knows I can't attack him. Dreamer could just save up 400 minerals and put down a Nexus, and Yeti might not be able to do anything about that.
Yeah, now here's going to be the big move from Yeti. He's going into a support bay. We do see the Robo coming in for Dreamer. Now that is entirely because he didn't see range, he didn't know exactly what build his opponent was going for, and he can't get another scout out, so he's going to have to go for observers just to be safe against DTs. He's obviously going into 3 gates, so that's another big difference here. Now, the Robo and the support bay are going to be the major differences. They are close by air, so it's going to be a little bit easier for Yeti to get his shuttle across there to do some damage. But obviously Yeti just has to survive this counter push, because 3 gates against 2 when you've already lost 2 of your Dragoons is going to be quite difficult to hold on to.
I mean, it sounds as simple as less versus more, but it's a little bit more complicated in that now it's starting to matter what units you make, right?
Yeah.
Because if you just have a bunch of goons, maybe that's good, but if you go up against like a defensive Reaver, well, it doesn't matter how many goons you have unless you can run in and snipe it. So let's see, Yeti lost those more Dragoons earlier. Is that going to come back and bite him here? It looks like the home field advantage, but look at the control from Dreamer. He's pulling back Dragoons. He's microing so well.
That was a nice snipe move by Yeti. Looks like Yeti's finally going to get the control going as well. So,
well, I mean, there's 2 more Dragoons coming in for Dreamer, so it's still a Dragoon advantage. And it
what a snipe.
Gets a snipe there. Yeti, my man. But he still has less Dragoons, and it's still less, and it's still less. And so I think this is just about to be. Oh, he sniped the observer.
Oh my God, there's going to be a Reaver, but there's no shot to keep it alive. If these Dragoons snipe the Reaver, this is going to be it. Dreamer.
He has no scarabs. No scarabs.
Dreamer looks like he's going to be able to take game 1 against Yeti. 3 Dragoons rallied over at a time. The micro by Yeti is good. He's actually going to block with a pylon, which is going to give him a little bit of a respite. But he's lost at every occasion here. His tech is gone. His Dragoons are completely gone. And he's forced to pull probes.
That pylon there doesn't actually do anything. I mean, it maybe makes it harder to get the Dragoons through that little gap. But it doesn't matter because there are so many Dragoons. There's so many probes not mining. This is it. Dreamer coming out in game 1. Kicks, change that key matchup. This is it. Dreamer doing so well against Yeti, and it should be able to take this just catastrophic damage.
Yeah, I mean, back at home, oh, that's a nice surround on that Dragoon even. We do have a second pylon at the choke now, finally blocking it off. Yeti has managed to block his choke for now. He's going to get another block with the cannon, and this is going to give him time to get a Reaver, so maybe a Reaver Scarab magic may happen.
Cannon?
But
yeah,
it's
there's
going to
definitely
be
no
difficult.
cannons.
He's definitely far behind at the moment, so...
Yeah, no cannons, just pylons. One of them died, so he can actually just cancel this pylon if he wants to, but at this point, he needs to wall himself in. And Dreamer's doing exactly what I said, but he's expanding behind us. Oh, needs to keep the Reaver safe! He's actually getting some good Scarab connections. But ultimately losing the Reaver is just tragic, and there's still more Dragoons. And even if he micros down this weakened one, he's still going to have less, and he's still going to have less, and he can't even afford to make double Dragoons because of all that missed mining time.
Yeah, now it looks like he is going to try and build another pylon. The Observer is going to go down here for Dreamer, so that makes it a little bit harder to know exactly what's going on, and maybe not, it's going to get away.
It survived.
But there's no additional Reaver coming in. Yeti's actually down by 18 supply at the moment, almost. And things are definitely getting out of hand. He's going to try and add on a shield battery at the front. He's going to try and add on another pylon. It might be better to just add a gateway at this point, just to see if you can block for longer. But that's going to block the Dragoons at least. It's just, it's basically a band-aid over a knife wound. It's not really going to do too much.
Kicks living in Britain referencing knife wounds. I see your cultural reference there, Kicks. But you are correct. This is going to be a very temporary fix to a much larger problem, and that is that Yeti still has less stuff. He does not have a Nexus, and even though the Nexus for Dreamer hasn't really kicked in yet, I mean, like, come on, that's 6 Dragoons.
Yeah, 6 Dragoons against 3 in the Zealot. Zealot getting targeted immediately. 3 versus 5, 2 versus 5. Shield battery coming in. Probes have been pulled once again. And I mean, Yeti's doing his best to hold on here. I admire his valiant effort, but he's fighting a losing battle.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, after taking that first bad fight, to hang on to this degree is actually pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
The only problem is he'll never be able to push out and take a Nexus, and he actually still might die. He still might die because he just has so few Dragoons. So he's gonna have to pull them back, pull some probes, and see if he can get some surrounds here. He actually is really, really, really good at surrounds, but it's almost like it doesn't matter because he only has a few Dragoons.
Not Warcraft 3 where your workers like just never seem to die when they surround something. Like, probes die really quickly to Dragoons, and GG! Yeti taps out, Dreamer takes game 1.
Wow, really, really impressive play there by Dreamer. I want to say that even just the initial attack there by Yeti just didn't really feel like he understood what he was attacking into, and the mind games delay that range. Range is like one of the most important upgrades in PvP. I mean, you can almost say the most important. It's just so crucial, and so you're playing that sick mind game. You're like, he's not going to know what I'm spending my gas on. It's like, well, if you then spend it on just later range, it's like, well, you know, I hope that mind game was worth it, and it wasn't for Yeti. So good job by Dreamer. He is going to take game number 1 here to put aSh up 1-0 over Net Wars.
Which is something I don't think I would have ever said in round 1, 2, or 3, so that's really, really cool. Let's get into game 2. We'll quickly load the replay and we'll be back in just a second. Hey guys, welcome back to the STPL. We're here for aSh versus NetWars. Game number 1 was Yeti versus Dreamer, where Dreamer took down the highest ranked player in the STPL with something like a 12-3 win ratio or something. So,
Yeah.
insane job by Dreamer there, really putting a number on Yeti there. So that's going to take us into game 2. Without further ado, oh my god, I'm actually saying it again, aren't I? I know that you start saying it now as well. I've cursed you.
I stole your bad habits, Kicks.
Yeah, it's not good. Without further ado, it's really good. Let's actually just let's introduce our first player here. So it's going to be on NetWars' side. It's True Touch. Now, in 2017, the end of 2016 as well, and quite a lot of 2018, True Touch was up there with Eon Zerg to be the best foreign Zerg by far. I mean, both of them met in the finals so many times. Both of them met Bonnet in the finals so many times as well. And True Touch just overall has done fantastic. He's not played in as many games in the STPL as someone like Yeti has, but the ones he's played in have been really good. I mean, he lost to Scan, but he beat Jerry, he beat Yaj, he lost to Spire as well, but that's his EBC and it was quite close. So just a lot of really good games here by True Touch. And his opponent gonna be for aSh, who did join them in round 3. It's gonna be Jax. Now Jax is actually at a 2-for-3 win ratio. The only Zerg he's lost against as Protoss is actually Eon Zerg, and that's the only one he's played. So can't talk about his PvZ too much because we don't really know too much about it.
Yeah, I don't know too. I definitely know more about True Touch. I think you just look at the roster, and yeah, obviously True Touch is kind of the big name here. So you gotta think that once again NetWars is favored. But I mean, we just saw game number 1 Yeti get taken out. So it's like, well, what are you gonna do at that point?
Yeah, I know, it's kind of crazy. We'll go into the map intro in just a sec, just to answer both Taitu and Sergey. Taitu, the results have been updated now. I just need to post them all in the main thread. And Sergey, last is Korean, but he's not the last. So it's a different last, but still a Korean last, because they all steal each other's names. It's annoying. We have someone on White Clan called Number 1 Flash, so everything's fair game in Korea. Let's head on in to the map intro. Let's have a look at Great Barrier Reef. Okay, so here we are on Great Barrier Reef. We have had 2 ZBPs here so far. It's actually even 1-1. We saw Cadenzi take down Headmaster, and we saw Noob take down Incomplete when he was off racing to try and save his team there. But it's kind of cool to see another PvZ here. It's a really nice 3-player map. You may have seen a similar map to it before, and you may be thinking, huh, I know this map from somewhere. Well, this map actually derived from El Nino. El Nino was in one of the OSLs, I can never remember which one it was one of the 2010 ones, and they brought it back in the Korean Air on GameNet Star League in 2010, and they just changed the tile set, so it's a bit weird. Huge thank you, Rebel Just for Kicks, for donating that $20, that means a hell of a lot, and that's a great name as well. You're almost on rapid status of Meme Lord there, so it's pretty cool. But huge
I
thanks.
highly approve.
Okay, let's go in to game number 2. And I've forgotten the names of the players. It's True Touch versus, oh man, I am so bad at my job. It's True Touch versus Jax.
There we go.
Okay, starting us off here in the 12 o'clock position, it is going to be the Peach Fighting for Net Wars. Damn minus in his name. It's True Touch.
I don't know the clan minus. I'm guessing that's what that is. But
Yeah.
maybe that's what it used to be on. Haven't done my research there, but and his opponent in the bottom left-hand corner in the yellow, this is Jax playing, of course, for aSh.
Opts out. Damn, I guess we better leave, Rapid.
Oh man, time to leave the replay.
Yeah, time to leave the replay.
He's trolling us retroactively. He's like, they're gonna cast this in the past or in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're actually time travelers. This game was played in 2050 when Brood War is still alive, and it's actually the biggest esport. We've come back to show you some of the games in the future, just to show you what real Brood War looks like.
Wait until they do that in the future, and they're coming back to show these games, Kicks.
Ah, damn. That's a scary thought. You know
It
what? I
is.
hope Brood War is still alive in like 2050, because even if it's not properly alive, I'll be there in my... I nearly said retirement home, but I'll only be 60 at that point, and I probably won't ever be able to retire, so I'll be sitting at work, in the office, like, dreaming about the times I used to watch, like, OSL and Pro League and stuff, so hopefully it's still around. You never know, we could see a big resurgence. We'll see what happens.
Well, dude, there's that. I just finished watching this. What is it? What is it called? Mortal Machine. Is it Mortal Machines? Mortal Instruments? I forget what it is, but it's basically this movie that the guy that made the Lord of the Rings made, Peter Jackson, and it's about in the future. It's made by this Russian company, but basically in the future there are these big cities on wheels that move around, they eat each other, and it's actually really cool. But they find these, like, what they called old tech, which is like remnants of the previous era. And one of them is like video games. And I think one of the video games they find is, it's a Dreamcast. I think it is.
Sick.
It's just like sitting there. I'm just like, oh man, that's so sick that like deep in the future they're gonna find this thing. And I hope the same thing for Brood War. I hope that somebody watches a Boxer VOD or something, 40 years from now, and it's just, their love is rekindled. That's my dream. But anyway, back to the game. We've got tons of lings heading across the map.
Yep, we've got it was Nexus into two cannons, so these two cannons should finish in time, but the probes have to be pulled just to be safe, but it's good to see two cannons for a change. One of the many problems with Sin, and one of the major causes of the 6-minute curse that we'll sometimes bring up, is just players who only build one cannon. Now the trouble is, there's two cannons, one of them hasn't finished, all of a sudden it's one cannon again. And things look a little bit dangerous. There's actually a drone here helping out, just doing a little bit of extra damage to that cannon. And Jax is going to need to be careful because there's more lings on the way.
Yeah, that was one of those Darkwing Duck kind of moments. Getting dangerous there in that cannon timing. That's like just the last little sliver. And it's only lings coming out here. So we know the way this game's going to go. It's True Touch just flooding across the map to try to hopefully get back here. I love the probe pull. Even if it's just for mining, you can still set some of those over there because they are absolutely necessary to hold things against big amounts of lings.
And this isn't it. As soon as this ends, we're going to have the third hatchery finishing up, likely a Hydra Den going down. And we're going to have a 3-hatch Hydra bus. Now, the thing that makes me think that's going to happen is this is a forward hatchery. It's very out in the open. It's a mineral-only base, but it's kind of a good staging point for Hydras to sort of waddle their way across the map. So Jax is going to have to be careful. Obviously, things could get a little bit more dangerous as things go on. We've got the Cybernetic score coming in. But it really wouldn't hurt Jax right now to add another cannon. He doesn't know all these lings are coming, and there's no Zealot out to block, so this could be a little bit horrible.
Oh man, a little bit late there on the probe pull. The cannon does get taken down. Probes are pretty good against lings, but the Zealot coming out is really going to be what allows Jax to kind of hold on here. But still, having lings or speedlings in your base, you're going to be really difficult to deal with. Lost mining time. You still have to rebuild these cannons, but he should know that eventually the ling flood's going to stop. But he won't know for sure until this probe gets in.
Yeah, now the one problem True Touch has is he's not dealt critical damage yet. He's killed a couple of probes, but there's two Nexus worth of probe production. And to do that, True Touch ate into his drone count. He's got so few drones that is natural. His main is pretty much fully saturated at this point, but he could still do with another one. I think there's a patch that isn't being mined, so True Touch definitely set himself a little bit behind trying to do that, and not getting that critical damage is going to cause him a few problems, because his cannon's up again. There is a lair coming up, so it's not going to be a Hydra bust even. Just kind of interesting choice of where he was going to build the hatchery. Maybe he just wanted to add some extra speedlings. But there is a Hydra den coming in as well, so quick lurkers could be on the table.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see exactly what the extent of that the tech is going to go. I mean, anytime I see the Hydra and lair, you should expect lurkers, but I think the big trend in a lot of the games that we've been casting, maybe even in BSL, is that we got these muta players out there, Kicks.
Yeah.
The BSL group is just how many games can you have Zerg go mutas versus Protoss?
That
The
was
answer
Babu,
is
though, wasn't it?
oh well,
always goes
it was
mutas.
actually quite a few.
Really?
Quite a few Zergs. Babu, we had Julia do it a couple of games. We had there's a bunch of like super weird builds. I have never seen that much usage of the Spire for mutas that early on. But yeah, probably not going to see that this time. Just lots of Hydras. This is the 3 hatch variety, not the 5 hatch.
Yeah, it's not necessarily just going to be for Hydras. Obviously, Lair has finished. Could just be for Hydras, well, for Overlord speed, possibly, just in case he's worried about DTs. But no upgrades on that Lair just yet. It's definitely not going to be Spire, I wouldn't say at this point in time, but I mean, he still does have the option of going for a macro play from this. He's obviously got the hatchery in a pretty of a weird place, so he is going to be trying to make use of these early Hydras, but I almost feel like this Lair was a little bit of extra gas that he could have put in something more useful at the moment. Really be achieving too much, and Jax has already got 3 cannons, so he's already starting to prepare. His +1 was a little bit late. Obviously he did take a little bit of damage, so that slowed him down a little bit, and he's got +1 air coming in, so Jax is looking pretty tight. He's going to need to make sure he adds a decent number of cannons though, or these Hydras could get the better of him.
Yeah, it's a lot of Hydras. How many cannons we got? We only got 3. There's not that many Zealots here, but it looks like there are just enough. Actually, the Lings getting on top of the Zealots are going to take them out. No, one barely survives.
Wow.
The Hydras kill a couple of the cannons, but it's just not enough.
That's a nice round.
Yeah, it was really good. Somehow there's a drone over there, but I think it's mission accomplished for sure here. Jax holds on for now.
Yeah, the important thing is he saved his forge. Now, the gateway did go down, but realistically that's not the biggest deal if you can keep building cannons. Stargate in the main isn't really going to help him too much, so he's not actually building any Corsairs at the moment. Just every bit of money he's got is going into more cannons, because Jax knows if he holds this for the time being, he can most certainly win this game against True Touch, and that would be an insane 2-0 lead for aSh to be taking against Netwars. I mean, this +1 is definitely going to get cancelled though.
Yeah, canceling +1, absolutely huge. It means you're not going to face a bunch of speed lots running across the map. Also, True Touch should see that number of cannons and just run back home and start droning. It's exactly what he's doing, going up to 5 hatchers, going for a bunch more drones, getting an Evo chamber, because once you force out that many cannons, you know that the Protoss player is not going to have a whole lot to run across the map with.
Yeah, because he's not going to have a lot of gateways. You can see the gateway flood has started now, but that's a lot later than what we'd normally see. The Templar Archive's only now just starting up. So it looks like the Hydras are going to chase this Corsair away. It didn't manage to get an Overlord kill or anything, but it does get a decent scout on what's going on. It looks like Jax kind of forgot about that for a second, but is going to keep that alive for now. It looks like True Touch going to try and move some Hydras in to intercept. But True Touch definitely making the right move here, just going back home and macroing.
Just going back home and macroing. You're saying macroing is the right move there, Kicks?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, he is. Tons of drones, getting upgrades, Spire, and Jax, even though we've congratulated him for being good on the defense, I think maybe he was a little bit overzealous on the defense there. He built maybe a little bit too many cannons, and True Touch is really sort of at that stage in the game where he is exploiting that.
Yeah, now, no additional stairs are coming out, so that +1 that he built a little bit earlier isn't really helping all that much. These 7 gateways, wait, is this 7? I can't count yet. 7 gateways are going to be missing the +1 attack, so the Zealot's not going to be as strong. Obviously, Zealot leg speed is going to be on the way. And, I mean, I saw a game the other day of July versus Baco from one of the MSLs.
What is that, 2004?
2008. So it was a 2008 MSL game, and basically it amazed me just how different the game was, because for the first like 10-15 minutes Baco did nothing but make Zealots, and like, there was like 2 control groups of Zealots with speed, with +1, and they must have killed about 80 Hydralisks. It was just ridiculous.
Wow.
Like, the thing is, like, July eventually won because he just seemed to have never-ending Hydralisk armies, but Zealots can be really, really strong in the right hands. Now, whether or not Jax is going to be those hands is yet to be discovered, but this is going to be the moment where we're going to find out exactly how this is going to go as he pushes across the map and gets on top of the Hydras.
At so many Zealots, but keep in mind they don't have +1, so the damage breakpoint isn't as significant. They're fast, so that's the most important thing, but not having +1, and oh, the Hydra flank! I love it, but ultimately Hydras are not that good at flanking Zealots, because Zealots can run them over.
Yeah, Zealots versus Hydras is kind of funny. Now, this is going to be kind of a bait here. He's going to pull back into those cannons. True Touch is going to have to be forced back. We've actually got Templar with Storm now on the high ground, waiting for this next kind of big change in this dynamic of the game. So this Storm is going to come out, and True Touch is going to have to start dodging them, or we're going to see a pretty one-sided fight with these Zealots.
Yeah, I mean, the Storms is the real big addition to the Protoss army that says, look, you can't just build a ton of Hydras to win the game. Imagine if you couldn't get splash damage on this on tier 2 tech as Protoss. Like, you would just lose every game.
Even as
the
Terran.
Zerg player would just run you over. Yeah.
Oh, that's a great Storm. So many dead Hydralisks there. Another good Storm in the back as well. A lot of the Zealots have gone down though. And without the Zealots, the kind of meat of this army is gone. And 3 High Templars in the middle, not really going to help all that much. They're going to go down eventually. But more Zealots coming in to reinforce.
Oh, Zealots just never ending. But I think they might actually start running out here. It's who can make more of what? Zealots or Hydralisks, and I think Hydras are going to be a little bit more available just because there are so many more hatcheries.
Yep, and this is one of the major problems you get when you let the when you over-defend, I would say. Like, the Zerg gets a lot of drones, they get a lot of hatcheries. That's a semi-decent Storm. Does force the Hydras away for a little bit, but Jax is going to have to think about taking a 3rd base soon, or eventually True Touch is going to go a little bit out of control.
Oh my goodness, look at that Storm, it's so juicy. Even that one actually pretty good, but you gotta have, like, it's rare that you get Storms that kill the entire clump of Hydras.
Yeah.
You gotta have things that finish it off, right? So either there's some Dragoons mixed into the army, most likely it's gonna be Zealots. They're coming out 7 at a time, but without that crucial +1, you can really see how much a difference that makes.
Yeah, now, one of the crazy things for me is I didn't think we'd be seeing this Hive right now for True Touch, because he's only on 2 gas. His 3rd base is at mineral only as well. We don't have a 3rd base at all for Jax, so this Hive is going to make things very, very difficult when we start seeing sort of cracklings coming in. We're going to have lurker eggs morphing as well. So Jax has kind of hit the point where he's not really done any damage with his army, and he needs to move out and take a 3rd base, because the longer he's stuck on 2 base, the worse it's going to get. We've seen it before in the STPL, and we might see it again here, where the Protoss kind of just runs themselves into a contain and they can't do anything.
Well, there's like a seesaw tipping point that I think a lot of Protoss players have to deal with, and that is where you have to get a 3rd base, but you also have to defend that 3rd base, and if you let the Zerg player get 5 hatches up in time, you can't storm your way out of that macro disadvantage, you'll just never have enough, and I think that's where Jax is starting to find himself.
Yeah, no, the good thing is for Jax is he does have that back mineral base. He can also glitch the probe through the minerals to take a quick gas, but it's going to be difficult. Now, he's got two options. He can either move down to the middle, which it looks like he's going to try and do. That's going to be very difficult to hold against all of these Lings and Hydras. They're going to be coming his way. But Jax feels like he kind of has to make a move out on the map, because if he doesn't, we're just going to see Infinity Lurkers kind of morphing in outside of his base, and when that happens, there's not really too much.
Oh no, High Templar! Oh, he picks off one, he picks off two! I think there's one left. It doesn't have any storms though, so that is absolutely huge, because now Chester can just back off. He knows that there's no more storm being kind of banked up. He's got Defiler tech on the way.
Yeah, Defiler tech is the next big stage in this Zerg army. Defiler allows you to use Swarm and Plague. Plague is the most obscene spell in the game. It hurts against Terran. It hurts even more against Protoss, because all of a sudden, all these units that have a lot of shields and not much health, they have 1 health, so as soon as the shield goes away, that's a dead unit. And there's nothing you can do to counter that either. So
and shields take full damage from Hydra shots, so that's what's going to really be feeling quite a bit of that. So yeah, the contain is real. There's so much supply. True Touch is up 20 or 30 supply here, and that's not what we should be seeing at this point, Kicks.
Yeah, this is the kind of moment where you really want to start seeing Reavers, but Jax isn't really on the basis to add the Reavers in, and this is going to slowly get out of hand. Crackling should be done soon. Cracklings mixed with Swarm means these cannons and the Dragoons are not going to do anything. The Zealots are only on +1 at the moment, so they're not going to be able to be too much help. +2 a very, very long way away. There's Observers finally coming in. That's going to help him deal with the Lurkers outside of his base, but True Touch is going up to a 5th base now, and finally going to get that 3rd gas, and there's absolutely nothing that Jax can do about it.
Yeah, I mean, Jax, he's going to mine out pretty soon in his main, and his natural is, you know, kind of the only thing really keeping him in the game. He's got to get a 3rd. And you can't even really expand to this safe back natural because there's no gas there. I mean, I guess you might have to, but you need that gas, and there's just very few places to get it on this map. So where are you going to go? Especially with constant floods of Lings and Hydras and Lurkers all coming in. How many storms has he got? He's going to have to storm some of these Lurkers, find some way. Oh, there's going to Scourge the Observer. He gets it. There's Dark Swarm. Yeah. I think this might just be kind of the beginning of the end, Kicks.
Yeah, this is going to be so hard to do anything. It's really hard to micro Zealots on the Swarm as well. Even though they kill everything, like, trying to find out where they are. Storms under Swarm as well do a lot of damage to the Lings. You can see there's just so many cracklings there, and there's nothing you can do about them. The Zealots have all gone down. Storming gets another couple of the Lurkers, but it's just a never-ending flood of Zerg coming from... He's got 5 hatcheries at his 3rd base rapid. This is ridiculous.
Oh, this looks like some fastest map kind of base
that's
layout.
A good storm,
like,
but...
Yeah, so storms are really the only things keeping Jax in here. Does he have one more? I think he does. Yeah, there's still Defilers. There's 3 Defilers just chilling out here, and endless swarms of Lings coming through. I mean, you're just not going to be able to come back from this. There's more and more consumes. More Dark Swarms are going to come through. And how do you cleanse this?
Yeah, it's like a never-ending swarm. It's just slowly creeping further and further into his base. One of the Defilers did go down, so that's a bit of a benefit. The Zealots have actually cleared a lot of the Lurkers now, so Zealots are clearing up the Hydralisks, but the natural Nexus has gone down. Jax, mined out in his main, is holding on with his last breath here, but little does he know, he's up against just a never-ending swarm.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally literal and figurative swarms. They're just everywhere. You're not going to do anything about this. So, I mean, the only thing I think you can do is maybe try to not fatigue your opponent because of the format, but just try to figure out a way that you can learn an additional lesson at this point. The game is 100% over. There's no way to come back from this.
Yeah, I mean, if he does come back from this, that's a literal miracle. Now, I'm not going to promise to eat a shoe like someone did, and then that keeps getting brought up, but it's just not looking good for Jax. I mean, he tried to push forward with his Dragoons, his units got plagued as well, so they're not really doing anything. And there's just so many Lings. Like, there's more Lings on this map than I think units that Jax has at the moment. And Storms are only going to keep you alive so long. He really does need Reavers, Archons, but he can't afford them actually storming his own High Templar. And he still holds for now, but when you look over at the rally point of True Touch, I mean, that's a very small amount of units compared to what's about to come his way.
Yeah, I mean, there's just infinity units here for True Touch. Honestly, the hardest thing for True Touch is just being able to move this many units, because you just have so many to do. There's just not enough hotkeys. He's gonna have to morph another Archon here. That's mission accomplished because there's no more storms. GG. Jax taps out, and True Touch ties up the score 1-1 for Net Wars.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty epic game overall in terms, well, not epic as such, but we saw a lot of like really cool micro. It's weird to explain, but the reason I think that game's kind of cool is we saw Jax kind of barely holding on so many times, but it all kind of goes back to when went for too many cannons. Like, it wasn't a full Hydra Bust. Obviously, that Hydra Bust could have won the game, but he didn't do nothing but go Hydras. He went into Lair, he went to Tech Up as well. So, when you overreact with cannons like that, you lose your first gateway. I mean, there was a while where he didn't have a single gateway. That's how many cannons he built, and Touch behind that was just able to do everything he could possibly want. Like, there was just absolutely nothing that he could do about it, and it certainly showed. But well played by Jax. Losing to True Touch is no mean feat. I mean, beating him either. But we'll be back with game number 3 when we get back after this very short break. Okay guys, welcome back. We're here for the STPL. We're watching NetWars versus aSh, where NetWars and aSh are tied 1-1 as we get our way into game number 3.
Yeah, and this features two players that you might not know quite as well, but both who are very skilled in their own regard.
Yeah.
And I definitely think this is sort of the middle, the most even matchup that we'll have of all of the games tonight.
Yeah,
despite the fourth one being Kix's key matchup.
Yeah, so we're going to have Kingpin for NetWars. Not played too much. He is 1-1 against Terran players. Now, interestingly, he did play against Hit'em before, who's going to be our player here. So he did lose to him. It's actually 0-1 in the head-to-head for them. So going to be a little bit of a chance, a redemption here for Kingpin as he goes up against Hit'em. Now, Hit'em was a player that joined aSh at the end of the middle of round 3. He's 5-1, which is by far the best win ratio on aSh so far. So Hit'em has been an amazing addition to their roster. He's actually beaten both of the Zergs he's faced. One of them was, of course, Kingpin, and the other one was Jaeyoon. So a really, really strong Terran player on our hands.
Yeah, I mean, it feels weird to say really strong Terran player because you've got some of the White Clan kids and maybe Scanon Soul, and like there's some standout non-Korean Terran players like Cryox way up there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of rare to see ones like come up and be this big strength or strong point on weaker teams, and that's kind of exactly what we have here in the form of Hit'em Up.
Yep. So let's get into our third map, which is going to be on Fortress SE. Okay, so here we are on Fortress SE. Now, this is a really cool map for TVZ. We've actually only had one, and the Zerg won, so Mitak the incomplete there. I believe that was actually last week, so kind of cool to see that. One of the things I do want to look to add is on the history. I want to put the dates the games were played, which should be easy enough to do. So hopefully we can get that sorted ready for either next week or the week after, and also Season 2 obviously. But just Fortress SE, just to quickly go over the main points. There's 4 bases in the corner, defended by installation gate units. Cannot get through there whatsoever. The only units that can is a mining worker. So you can actually block that off by mining away the minerals before your opponent can get there. We saw, I can't remember who it was, I believe it was a Protoss player, tried to do that before, and they spent so much APM trying to go between like the mineral and the gas that they kind of wasted half the game doing it. It takes a long time. But this map was more recently used in KSL Season 1, but does hark back to the 2010 Pro League. So cool to see it back here again in the modern era. And we're going to get into game number 3 here. It's Kingpin versus Hit'em. Okay, and starting us off here in the bottom middle position, we do have the orange Terran fighting for aSh. It's Hit'em.
That's right, and his opponent on the other side is the Kingpin, of course, playing for NetWars. And a NetWars that's tied at 1-1 means that already we know that the fourth game could possibly be the decider or take us to an ace match, which is always really exciting when we don't have 3-0s. But the other characteristic is that it's kind of nice to see aSh really bring in their heavy hitters here. And Hit'em has been, a player that by far has the best record on the team. But more than that, that means that, there's a lot of weight on his shoulders here to kind of carry his team through this matchup against a very formidable opponent.
Yeah, because when you look at Game 4, it's going to be Bonneth versus Radley. Now, as much as I love watching Radley play, when you look at someone like Bonneth, you think, well, realistically, he's going to beat Radley. That's what should happen. Like, statistically, statistically, and even psychologically, I know that Radley was like, oh no, I have to face Bonneth, because it's a hard matchup. Like, you can't go against someone like Bonneth, who's got, like, the kind of... I want to say star power. Obviously, he's not, like, a pro or anything like that, but in terms of the foreign scene, Bonneth is one of the most well-known players, so if you're going up against him, there is that psychological aspect, and it really does mean that unless Radley can kind of overcome that, if Hitmob doesn't win here, Netwars are kind of destined to win the series almost. So Hitmob's going to have to put in a good amount of effort here to beat Kingpin. Now, he is doing a really good job. He's beaten Kingpin before, and looks like he's actually going to be going for a 1-1-1, or at least some kind of one-base tech build. Now, we could see like maybe 2 Racks Academy, 3 Racks Academy, or something like that off of one base, but 1-1-1 is quite popular on this map just because there's so much area to drop, so it'd be kind of cool to see exactly what Hitmob's going to go for. Blocked the hatchery for a really long time, so that helps.
Yeah, that's like the biggest way to, or biggest thing that's happened so far. Sometimes you'll see Zerg gas steal a Terran. I think that happened in ASL not too long ago. And I'm just like, well, wait a second, that's not supposed to happen. But yeah, that's not going to happen. It's just going to be first hatchery coming down. Now let's see if we get another hatchery here from Kingpin to go up to 3 hatch play. Otherwise, I mean, 2 hatch mute is, you know, it's not incredibly strong just because there's quite a bit of space behind the mineral lines for you to put marines and stuff. But you could definitely go for one of those more aggressive varieties. See if he's fixing to put down that 3rd hatchery here pretty soon.
Now, Hitmob actually opted to go for his 2nd depot before factory, so it's not the quickest possible factory. But the important thing to note is he actually stayed in gas a little bit longer rather than going out on 88. So Starport very likely to follow this up. Obviously keeping those SCVs in a little longer does get you that ability. Now, Kingpin to scout this has actually put his Overlord in danger. And he's sending a lot of Lings down here, but there's actually a Ling type wall. So things are looking pretty good for Hitmob, because if this Overlord goes down, that's a huge boon for Kingpin.
Well, it's not only a huge boon for Kingpin, but also, I mean, by what do you want to call it? By the transitive property for the rest of his team as well. So
yeah.
I like to imagine them GSL versus the world style, all sitting there on the bench cheering him on, instead of everybody just playing their games at random times and hoping that, you know, it's what their team needs to move on. But let's keep an eye on these first couple of Lings and see what they're going to see, which is the front of a wall. No natural expansion, and that's it.
Now, looks like we are going to have speed coming in first for Hitmob, so Hitmob's going to try and hit a timing here. Now, you don't see this as much these days. Even kind of Flash's modern style of 1-1-1 got mines first into a starport. But the big purpose of going speed first is there's sometimes these weird moments where you can just kind of run your vultures past, and there's only 1 sunken, so if you've got at least 3 vultures and they have speed, at least 2 of them are going to get in, and a lot of damage. Now, Kingpin, knowing what he's feeling, that there's, I mean, he saw the gas, so he knows there's definitely some kind of tech, is actually going into Lurker first here on this map. Now, this could be a big mistake. Now, he's showing off his first vulture. The vulture doesn't have speed yet, so that's fine. This is okay to do. But obviously this does give Kingpin the idea of exactly what's going on behind this.
Yeah, and honestly, as there can be a few kind of dark periods in the map, like between when you're trying to get scan or whatever it is that you're going to use to get information, and you have to make sure that, you know, am I making the right tech choices to kind of try to counter what my opponent is going for? The vultures run right by the hydras, so things are starting to seem pretty normal. And they run right by the sunken in the front. 3 vultures make it into the main, and obviously that's exactly what you want because drones heal when you shoot them. So yeah, you want to have 3 vultures running around. Yep, running around, killing everything.
Not only that, but they also get a full scout. 3 vultures on their own with good micro can actually take down quite a few hydralisks. Now, this is already catastrophic damage for Kingpin to be taking. Usually I'm really optimistic, but I mean, with this amount of damage off of just 3 vultures, you're in a really, really good position. He's even going to get another drone here. Oh, a little bit of a misfire there. It's actually going to cost him up a little bit. Now, Kingpin does have a lot of Hydras. He's got a lot of drones still. But back at home, him up, still on one base, going into siege tanks, has his bunker, and is going for the engineering base. So he's going to be able to get a turret, but this is going to be quite dangerous. He's going to lose this wall. And if he can't get some kind of detection up very, very quickly, these lurkers are going to cause him a lot of problems.
Yeah, I mean, the lurkers are the scariest part right now, running forward. Will they get the burrow? They're not even going to burrow. They're just going to run right past there, right past the bunker, right past the tanks. The tanks focus one of the lurkers down, but it's going to get on the mineral line.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's built a turret underneath the engineering bay. I'm not quite sure if that's in range, but the scanner is coming up. The Hydra's bursting in the front. The lurker actually going to run away. The scan enough to chase it. And Kingpin is getting further behind now.
Man, yeah, I feel like it could have gone so differently there if maybe he'd gotten a burrow at a better time, or maybe the scanner had been a couple of seconds later. Ah, man, heartbreaking to go for all that tech. He even scans the morphing lurkers in the natural.
Yeah, Hitmuff is in such an amazing position. This kind of all spiraled out of control after those initial drones died, because he got the full scout. He knew exactly what was coming, and this allowed him to prepare. Usually with 1-1-1, you'll go into kind of a starport, but he skipped starport, went into a second factory, and has just started going into mech behind this. And if there's one thing that mech, oh my god, he even saves all of his marines. That's just really, really good.
Yeah, that's so impressive. Okay, well, basically Hit 'em Up's killing it this game. He is the recipient of a very aggressive build, holds it very deftly, and when you do that, you get so much of an advantage. He's going to be able to float out his natural, get that up and running. And meanwhile, Hit 'em Up doesn't even have a third mining base. He's just now expanding to the upper right-hand corner.
Now, the interesting thing about this is it reminds me a little bit about last PvP, or PvZ even, where when you're going mech as Terran, you don't really have that much pushing power super early. He killed a lot of units, but he's going to need to be careful. He's going to need at least a couple more tanks before he can really start to move out. And if this does go later somehow, if like Hitmup chooses not to push for whatever reason, Kingpin's going to be able to build again. And when you start getting a lot of hatcheries, that's when mech really starts to struggle. Now, the one benefit for him up here, and this is going to sound kind of weird, is the fact that Kingpin's built a safe base, because he's not going to be able to get any units out of that base, and that's going to be so important when the mech starts pushing. Oh, and he scanned.
I'm just waiting. Yeah, the scan is really. What doesn't Hit 'em Up have at this point? He's got information, he's got tech, he's got a mining, natural expansion, he's got siege mode, Charon boosters even coming up. So good luck trying to drop him or come in with like surprise mutas or something like that. Like, you just can't get anywhere. I would say that the one thing maybe he's a little bit lacking on is maybe some turrets behind the main mineral lines.
Yep.
But he's got plenty of like these Charon Goliaths, so even that would be rough to try to go for like some surprise, mutas or guardians or whatever.
Yeah, now the interesting scan he just threw down there was in front of the natural. He was trying to find the rally point. Now, seeing the rally point kind of gives away exactly what your opponent's doing, makes you allows you to change your composition. Obviously, if he's going for mutas, you're going to want to build more Goliaths. You're likely going to go into +1 defense first, but looks like it is going to be +1 attack. And Kingpin is going to be relying entirely on these mutalists he's built to try and deal with this army. Now, this realistically isn't that many Goliaths. They don't have +1 damage yet. So maybe Kingpin can hold on here. This is a good number of mutas.
It is, and I was talking about this switch as maybe a way to deal with some of this, but let's see. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Goliaths. They do have Charon boosters, but he's actually losing a couple of them to these sunken colonies, so that might make it easier. This is going to be one big moment, and this has to totally smash this Terran force that's here at the natural, and it has to allow him to secure enough soft map control to keep this third base up and running. So yeah, that's just going to take quite a lot to ask for.
Yeah, he's basically going to be relying on finding room to breathe. Now, the big move he can make here is if he can reset the tank count even, Kingpin is going to be in a very, very good position. Kingpin actually diving on top of the anti-air. He knows as soon as these Goliaths are down, these Lings are going to be able to deal with these tanks. The Goliaths all go down, and suddenly Hitmup is in a little bit of danger here because he's walled himself out of his own base. He needs to keep this up to stay in the game. And the Mulists are jumping on top of the back tank. And he's got into the natural. This is so much damage going to be coming in from Kingpin.
What a huge play! He just overextends, and with a perfect Muta switch, there aren't enough Goliaths, and the Mutas come out and kill everything. Of course, Lings down at the ground doing their fair share as well. And you just can't buy a better comeback than that. What a sick way to bust out from Kingpin. I have not seen that in a very long time.
The reason is because you don't really see that bust out unless it's against Mech, because Mech, even though you kill a ton of Hydras, a ton of Lurkers early on, like, Mech is very, very fragile. It does a lot of damage when you get the upgrades coming in, but early game, you're in a lot of trouble, especially against Mulists. Now, there are a lot of Goliaths, they're going to be able to clean this up, but oh man, he needs to build a queen and go infest this command center. I will not be happy until this gets infested, but there we go. Looks like more Hydras coming in. Hydras against Goliaths are going to be very, very big. The command center being focused down, but now it looks like the Hydras are going to come in. The Goliaths have got good target firing, but the Mu is soaking up so much of this damage. And Hitmup's still in trouble.
I don't know about that, because I think he will actually stabilize here pretty well. The Mutas were kind of fighting there at the on their own, and the Goliath count actually did get up quite high.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that was a little bit overzealous of Kingpin to try to go for the killing blow, because all you need at that point is to know that you're not going to get tank pushed. And he killed all the tanks. This is like a mech that we're seeing here. It's not like your Bio SK Terran where your opponent's gonna macro out insane amounts of bio and run across the map and kill your third. No, it's mech. It takes longer. And
also,
so I feel like
he can't get to the third, so that's a big deal.
It absolutely is. I mean, if you were going some sort of like 1-1-1 style, then obviously you'd have the air to do that, but he doesn't.
Yeah, usually you'd see, like, this is one of the reasons why when Fancy used to go into mech. I mean, I kind of feel like Hitmup went into mech here not out of choice, but out of the situation. I'm trying to think of consequence. That's what I'm thinking of. And I mean, Hitmup, I know he definitely has played mech before. He's doing a pretty good job of it. But when you see mech openings, like the main mech players that you think of is someone like Fancy, and one of the main components of his mech style was he'd always go for a starport early on. And it's because drops are the only thing that stops the Zerg opponent when you're kind of stuck with very low tanks that aren't able to push from really being able to just drone constantly. And slowly but surely, if this game goes on longer, Kingpin is just going to be able to start mass expanding. And with no large tank count, Goliaths can only get you so far. Hydras, when they start getting some upgrades on, when you get a decent number of them as well, they slowly start to overwhelm the Goliaths. Now, Kingpin's getting to that stage now. It's getting a little bit scary for him up. Oh, and it looks like we're going to have drop overlords, I think.
Yeah, so we were talking about how maybe the Terran player needs to get out there and drop, but no, it's actually going to be Kingpin who will be trying for a drop of his own. Let's see. So here are the dropper lords, and the Hydras are sort of going to mass up underneath them. He's going to try to drop them in. There's like okay turret coverage, but I don't know if that's good enough to stop all these dropper lords from getting in.
Yeah, but this is the biggest moment in this game right now. Hitmup is going to try and move out to the map. He's found a group of these Hydras. This is a group of units that Kingpin cannot afford to lose. But while this is going on, all of a sudden a drop can come in your main. Now it looks like Kingpin is being a little bit apprehensive. Going to wait for his +1 armor to finish and his +1 attack as well. And could this moment of hesitation been what caused the difference between a ton of damage being done? Because all of a sudden Hitmup is able to move across the map. Overlord's going to go down. This is a lot of Overlords. They're all actually empty. They're all going to go down.
Wait, what?
A huge mistake by Kingpin.
Kicks! I'm blind!
That
I
was
can't see anymore.
that
What
was
happened?
800 minerals of overlords. He must have misclicked somehow. And
Oh no.
all of a sudden, Hitmup is going to be able to push forward. There's absolutely no way of any form of recompense defense coming in here unless he suddenly builds 44 Sunkens. Yeah,
Not 44 Sunkens.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, sure. I get what you're saying, but like, what? This is so crazy. I feel like Kingpin smashed hit him up. And he's going to try to go do it again. It's a little bit hard to get all the way through here, but look at
Yeah.
these Hydras. They're just waltzing into the Terran main base. What am I watching, Kicks? This is not supposed to be possible.
Yeah, this is a base trade rapid. We don't often see it in Brood War, but it does happen against Mech, really trying to take advantage of the fact that the Terran player cannot be in two places at once. This is going to give Kingpin a little bit of breathing room back at home. SCVs are pretty strong though. Gundam's doing their job against these Hydras. And I don't think Kingpin's done enough damage, but he's bought himself some time. He killed a few extra tanks. He's actually killed a decent number of these SCVs.
Oh, he's killed an insane amount of SCVs. More than that, he can make like drones and units behind this. He's gonna go back into mutas for some reason. I mean, this is just a very strange day for STPL already, Kicks. Quite a few SCVs got taken out, but the minerals in the main are mining out, so you don't actually need that many. He's going to try to go for a third base, and that's when having that lower SCV count might actually start to hurt him.
Yeah, no.
But the bigger problem is, like, the Zerg lost his entire army, so
yeah,
theoretically, he should just die now.
Yeah, I mean, this army was big enough to kill Kingpin before. It was just the fact that Kingpin managed to find Hitmup out position that did give Kingpin the chance to survive. But the longer this game goes on, he's building another hatchery where he can't get units out. So I almost feel like a large problem that Kingpin is going to have is he just doesn't have the hatcheries to produce units. And you can really see this with his money going higher and higher. He doesn't actually have that many lava. And I mean, Kingpin, he's going in for another counterattack here, but I think Hitmup can actually just run through the front two bases here. I don't think he's really that worried. And there's two tanks in the back to defend. And this natural's going to go down. The main is going to be next to following Kingpin. I mean, he's killed a lot of SCVs, but what are you going to do against this mech army? The only thing he has going for him now is the fact that mech army can't get to two of his bases, but that's only going to get you so far.
Yeah, I mean, the bigger thing is just the sacrifice, right? He tried to go for... Actually, he's going to lose the National Command Center.
Yeah, he can't save that, I don't think. Maybe he can. Gonna need to repair it fairly quickly though. The Goliath's coming. SCV, Hero SCV gonna come and do his job. There we go, the repair's going down.
Oh my goodness. That command center saved at 100 HP. Insanity. Kicks. I don't know, one of these players needs to apologize for playing their race. I'm not sure which one, but that might give us a hint. So here come the flight of the Valkyries, or the Mutas as the case may be. They run into the Goliath and die.
Looks like they're going to be the ones meeting the Valkyries, because they're going to be taken up to heaven. Or Valhalla, but yeah. Yeah, the trouble is, Kingpin, yeah, he's got two bases that can't be attacked. He's going to stay in the game. He doesn't want to give up. He knows this is an important game.
He did that cool elevator trick. So he elevated out a bunch of Hydras, and they're going to go for the counterattack here. We'll see how well they work out.
Well, there's actually not that much defending Hitmup's base here, so this base is likely going to be forfeit. The turrets, though, going to be doing a number against the Mutas. He really does need to focus those turrets down. And he's going to stop the third base from mining. The Natural Command Center is mining again, though, but he's going to get another tank. Now, the funny thing is, Kingpin, he lost all his tech. That's the big problem. Like, he doesn't really have that many drones over here, but there only now is a starport. So there's only going to be one dropship. The Terran cannot go for the time being over to kill the other bases. And he could lose his natural here, but it's going to be difficult. Looks like he's going to try and hold on. Kingpin going to try and get as many of these SCVs as possible, but he's going to need godlike target firing to take all of these down. Oh, he's going to block
yeah. He's also going to need about 50 supply that he doesn't have. So
Yeah.
Hey, he's almost got Lair again. Sick.
Yeah.
We're back at Lair Tech Kicks. He's also re-expanding to his main. I don't know if that's even worth it. There's not that many minerals left there.
I think it'd be better to expand to the bottom right at this point, and the top or the bottom left as well. Just like take all four corners, surround your opponent.
I don't know why you would re-expand the same base you were in. I mean, I guess maybe you
Oh
just,
wow, Hitmap's actually trying
homesick.
to scan the other corners as well. So Hitmap is
Nice.
privy to what's going on, but the trouble is with only one dropship, not going to be able to elevate her in. Like there's actually a Hydra that was stuck on the gate, which I didn't even realize, but he is going to be able to take 2 units at a time. What he's going to have to do is leapfrog tanks into the gate if he wants to keep his stuff alive. Now these Hydras that were there to defend have actually just flown away. So these Hydras, they're on vacation right now. They're going over to the Terran base, but he needs them back at home. But Hitmap is pushing this perfectly. He's dropping into this installation gate area. No units are going to get into them to kill them. So this is all he needs to do. Basically leapfrog his way with the dropship into the base to kill it. And he's already got another dropship over in this top left position. The Goliath's killing a lot of the drones. And this is bound to be the death knell, surely.
I mean, you say surely, but neither one of these players is named Shirley Kick. And anyway, I don't know what to say. This game is beyond over. It is donezo. It is, this is some fantasy GG timing here, Kicks.
Yeah, but usually Fantasy has like a slither of hope when he's doing this. Like Kingpin, unfortunately, he just has nothing. Like this is a Kicks GG timing where he just refused to leave the game out of some weird sense of pride. But yeah, the final base is going to go down. The Goliath's killing the hatcheries in the top left. Kingpin, he's got 2 drones at his main, which gets scanned. So there's going to be a dropship heading down there in a second. 2 Scourge come in. Do manage to take... Oh no, they don't take out the dropship. There's actually 3 of them now, and yeah, this is going to be an elimination race, I think. Well, I say a race, but there's only one competitor, and that's Hitmap. Kingpin GG's, and Hitmap's going to take us 2-1.
Wow. All right. That's awesome. aSh really showing up today. And Net Wars, you know, you expect them to just sort of like raffle stomp their way through with some hilariously strong players, but not so, Kicks. They are now on match point.
They are indeed. Now it's going to be Radley versus Bonith on Neo Chain Reaction when we get back after this very short break. See you guys soon. There we go. So we're here with game number 4. Just have a quick look at our players. We've got aSh 2-1 up in the series. So let's see who is going to be joining aSh's lineup. We already know it's Radley versus Bonith. But let's go through their history, and then I'll figure out what the hell I'm doing because apparently I'm half asleep. So, for Bonith, he's 9-7 in the STPL. Not got the kind of record you'd expect, but he's beaten Dandy, he's beaten Kim Quacks. He's actually 2 for 2 against Terran, and his opponent here is going to be Radley. Now, Radley was on Net Wars up until 2 weeks ago when he left when Julia joined, so moving over to aSh to help them out. He's been really, really fun to watch in the SCPL. We've seen him use Ghosts with Lockdown, we've seen him use Nukes. Bradley is just one of my favourite players for that, so I'm looking forward to seeing that come into fruition, see exactly how this is going to go, and let's actually have a look at our final, well, possibly our final map of the series. Depending on the result of this game, it's going to be on Neo Chain Reaction.
All right. Well, the biggest thing to take away from the win-loss is that it's very good for this specific race. Maybe not so much overall, and also that you were talking about this is a year long, Kicks, that we've been playing some of these games. So I mean, a lot changes in a year, whether it's map stats or player stats. So you got to kind of take those with a grain of salt. And it certainly seems like today, aSh is killing it. So no reason to expect that they would stop now. One game away from taking the win.
Yeah, now we're 2 for 2 on Neo Chain Reaction, and I'm gonna be completely honest. We've had 2 for 2 in good and bad games as well. Marine and Medino went really, really, really quick, and Curiosity and Hitmob went really, really quick as well. That was one of the shortest games I've ever had. I can't remember how to say his name. It's like Gogi, isn't it, or something? And Gogi versus Marwin and Anne versus Scan, both of them were really, really fantastic matches. I am so looking forward to what we're going to see from Radley here, because Radley said he was preparing something special. So, without further ado, let's get into game number 4. It's Radley versus Bonith on Neo Chain Reaction. Okay, starting us off in the right-hand position on your screen, it's the blue Protoss player fighting for Net Wars. It's going to be Bonith.
That's right, and his opponent on the opposite side of the map in the red is J.E. Rayner, or aka Radley. And I agree with this being your key matchup. It is actually going to be even more key because it could mean a big upset. If aSh takes the win here over Net Wars, I don't think anybody would have seen that coming.
I actually spoke to Radley a little bit before this game because he was trying to find someone to practice with, like last minute as well. He'd been preparing something and he wanted to make sure it would work. Now, Radley thinks this map isn't very good for Terran against Protoss. I mean, we've seen a few games where it's made it look a little bit difficult. We saw Anne versus Scan, where there was lots of drops of High Templar, lots of Storm everywhere, and Scan really had trouble, and we saw that with Gogi versus Marwin as well. Marwin kind of struggled to get past 3 base, so Radley was kind of thinking, what exactly am I going to do against Bonith here? Now, one of the, he didn't tell me what he was going to do or how it went. I didn't ask, because I wanted to go into this completely unspoiled. But one of the main things is that one of Radley's major worries was he was worried that he would die within the first 5 minutes to Bonith Zealots, and you know what, that isn't necessarily an unfounded claim. Bonith's early game Zealot micro is just ridiculous. So we're going to see Gateway and Gas. So I think Bonith is going to go straight into Goons. So that's going to be a little bit of a ease on Radley's mind.
Yeah, anytime you can figure out what is going to, or what your opponent's doing, you just feel so much better, because you know what to do instead of having to kind of figure out or intuit any of this. And sure, the top best players are able to kind of figure things out like that based on what they do or don't see. But I would say it's usually just you need a little help, right, to try to figure out what on earth is happening and what you should do about it. And the scout here from Radley should help him in that way.
Yeah, so he's going to go up against the Zealot first. So Bonith is going to go for this first Zealot. Radley at this point already has his factory up, or at least he's building it. So this isn't a super quick Zealot that's going to run across the map and kill him, but he's still got to be a little bit more careful. We'll need to build a couple of Marines just to make mure that he can micro against it as well. Bonneth behind this, it wouldn't surprise me to see him go Reaver, especially on this map, and it's Bonneth as well, so looks like Radley's just trying to be a little bit more annoying with the SCV than kind of what we'd normally see in the STPL, but doing a pretty good job so far.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, this is Bonneth we're talking about. Not only is he just a sick badass, if we see a game where he doesn't build a Reaver, it's like, well, what? Like, why? It's his best unit, unless you count the shuttle along with it, and you really are in for a treat if you get one of these like one base Reaver plays. Although I don't think that's what we're gonna happen. Still.
Yeah, no.
Although I can't say for sure.
Radley's gonna check. There's no Nexus coming up at 3 minutes 30. This would normally come up 4 minutes, so this is kind of a miscount here by Radley. But just leading on from what you were saying before, Bonneth. I mean, one of the major things we see from Bonneth, and it's just kind of relatively normal to see from him, is just Reaver into Carrier. And I would say this map, not the best for carriers. There's a lot of, well, there's not a lot of open ground where Goliath can't walk to, so I would more say that this is an Arbiter map, but definitely Bonneth kind of forces the issue with carriers, maybe a little bit too much. Now, Bonneth is going to go for an expansion around 4 minutes, so it's going to be a 28 next from him, and then we'll have to see the tech choice after that.
Waiting on that tech choice and seeing exactly what kind of divergence Radley wants to take, or Bonneth wants to take here. Honestly, for me, one of the difficulties of being a caster is that you have to be at least a little bit impartial. Obviously, everybody has like favorites or whatever, but I mean, Bonneth is just you know, one of the best non-Korean players out there right now. So I'm trying to look at him in his position and say, well, you know, this is a very important game. He's got to go with he's got to get a win here. And so, what do you do when kind of your back's up against the wall? Like, how does that change your decision making? So let's see what it does for Bonneth. If it makes him want to play safer or you know, something else. And we do have that you know, the natural just now getting up, and should have the Maynard over there as soon as that Nexus finishes. But that's going to be, you know, step number one. It's like, get this economy up. But you look over there on the other side, the Terran economy is almost exactly on parity.
Yep, we've got Radley going with that 28 command center. He kind of go for a later command center if you're going for this kind of build. He's going to go into a starport. Drops on this map, very powerful. We can see that Bonneth is actually building that pylon behind the temple there by his third, or by his possible third, and that's going to help him scout for this. But obviously a tank drop in the main, tank drop in the natural can be very strong. There is droppable cliffs, so we saw good usage of that from our Protoss player last time. Bonneth still, well, Bonneth has made his tech choice. He's actually going into Corsairs. So, this is another Kellerfish.
Yeah, what? Okay, tell me more about Corsairs in PvT, Kicks.
Okay, so Corsairs...
Why is that a thing?
Corsairs, you don't see them very often, but one thing to note is Radley and Bonneth are former teammates.
Yeah.
Bonneth knows that Radley plays a little bit interestingly. I mean, back in the first ever STPL I did in 2015, people played under the idea of a pro game. We see Radley scanning the Stargate already. He's going to see a fleet beacon coming in soon. I'm guessing the scan's going to run out before that. But Corsairs counter drops, kind of. They counter this Wraith that's coming out as well, which is kind of funny. So we're going to see a Corsair versus a Wraith at the start of the game, which is kind of... It's kind of what I'd expect from a game from Radley for some reason. All of his games look like this. They're just not normal.
Yeah, I mean, he's also getting +1 air weapons, so you got to kind of imagine that eventually he'll be transitioning to carriers. One of the builds that Bonneth does, and I think DeWalt does this as well, is Scout build, which is actually pretty cool, especially once you get those Scout upgrades that just make them so potent. But this is Corsairs, so yeah, I mean, Corsairs versus Rays, who wins, Kicks?
Corsairs definitely win. We just saw a 1v1 between the Wraith and the Corsair. The Wraith survived, but only because it was being repaired by 3 SCVs, so that kind of gives that away. Now, the other interesting thing about, the dynamic of how Corsairs work in PvP is they have a spell that many people may not have ever actually seen before called Disruption Web. And what that does is it basically means anything underneath it can't do any, or can't attack, so it makes tanks effectively useless because you can't move them out of the way. But the Wraith goes down, the Corsairs are coming up. We don't have any upgrades on those Corsairs, so it is going to be carriers behind this, with +1 air weapons on the way. And Radley is going to have to start going into some Goliath soon, or he's going to find himself in a lot of trouble. But his armory's only just started.
Well, my thing is, if you look at these Corsairs, they're trying to fly around, get all this good scouting information. But one thing that they'll notice is that we aren't seeing any Wraiths. Where my Wraiths at? He was camping the starport, so you don't want any to pop out there. And one of the big kind of scariness that Wraiths have is that you can get cloak for them, right?
Yeah.
And so you would then cloak the Wraiths, kill off all of the Corsairs, and then kind of swing the tide back in Bradley's favor. But the other thing is, if you were to, we're going more starports.
Valkyrie.
Wait, what? Okay, I didn't expect that one.
Yeah, okay, so this is something I learned on Sparkle, which is kind of a weird thing. It's not often you get to see you learn something about the game on Sparkle, but Corsairs pretty much just destroy Wraiths because they stack up so quickly in their paper planes. Valkyries do the same thing to Corsairs, so these Corsairs aren't going to really be able to do too much against this Valkyrie. We are likely to see Cloak coming up behind this. Is actually going to be, wow, double control tower. What is Radley going for here? Oh, but the Valkyrie's gonna go down!
No, not like this, Kicks.
Oh, I've seen that in my nightmares many times. This isn't good. The warp gate's gonna be taken down by Radley eventually. It looks like he's not gonna finish that off just yet, but Radley's in trouble. The carry count's building up and up and up. There's no observatory. Going into more Valkyries. Okay, Radley, what are you gonna do? What's the plan here? Because things are gonna get a little bit out of hand.
Is this just like maximum weirdness day on STPL? Like, give me what are these builds? We're really kind of kicking it into the extra weird drive here. Now, how many carriers do we have? Kicks. Wait, hold on. I gotta find these things. 2.
Yeah.
All right. Total of 2, and then it's like 2.5. One more on the way, but they have to take time to build up interceptors as well. So you gotta keep that in mind. Now these Dragoons are coming down off the high ground. This high ground is going to be one of the most key points here for Bonnet. He has to hold that and try to find some way to stop the push from continuing. And currently, all Radley has for anti-air is 1 Goliath and a couple of Marines.
And a Valkyrie somewhere. But Valkyries don't really do too much damage against carriers, so Radley's going to be forced to go back home. This is kind of what happens when you go for these weird builds. Now, he's going to go into double Starport Wraith, triple Starport Wraith. Now, Wraith versus Carrier is one of those things that we've seen many times in the past if you've watched any Pro League. It's not the most common sort of reaction to carriers, but if you can snipe the obs, all of a sudden, all of the carriers just melt. Now, sniping the obs is the problem. Obviously, Carrier's going to hide around by Dragoons. The obs, he's probably going to build about 5 or 6 of them. Going to hide them inside the carriers, which makes it even harder. And you can already see that Bonnet is just standing on a lot of observers right now. So, Bradley needs to be careful, but he's buying himself time and he's going for a 3rd base.
This is actually really sick. I love the kind of back and forth. We're getting a chance to see the kind of style that these players want to play. So for Radley, he is going to go for that one big moment where he builds up a bunch of Wraiths and then runs them in. And apparently this is something that he's used to beat Bonnet before. And so he's kind of going to go back into that. But I would say that the big scariness
he's got
that comes
1/1 attack on air, by the way. I just noticed.
for...
Bradley.
Oh yeah, you're right. Wow, where's the BCs, man? I'm just like waiting for the tech that would need those kind of upgrades, but yeah, we don't have anything like that just yet.
Wraiths, they don't benefit too much from the
Yeah.
armor upgrade, but
They really don't. I mean, they still die instantly.
Yeah, but they do 22 damage per shot with their anti-air missile, so that does help. He's going triple Stargate, or triple Starport Wraith. Radley's going into a 4th command center, a 4th base at the same time, because he knows that until Bonneth gets that critical mass of carriers, Bonneth isn't going to push across the map. And this is kind of an interesting thing you can do as Terran to try and counteract that. Now, he's got a lot of mines all over the place, so Dragoons can't just sort of waddle across the map. He's going to have to be careful. He has a lot of Corsairs now, which is going to be Bonneth's answer to the Wraiths here, rather than just Mass Observer, while he tries to build up this carrier count. But he doesn't have any armor or shield upgrades, so Wraiths could do a lot of damage.
Say that sentence one more time, Kix.
Yeah.
I mean, they could. I didn't know exactly what to expect from this, but we still haven't really seen like the big meaningful moment in this game, right? The Corsairs are scouting. He actually has a couple of them that are not with the other Corsairs. So he's got to group all the Corsairs together. All right, step number 1. He's got about 9 Corsairs here, and I mean, I guess it's gonna be up to whether or not Radley wants to stack his raids or not. Obviously, it makes them easier to micro to pick off carriers with them, but you know, you do have to watch out for them stacking up against the splash damage from Corsairs. So
yeah,
this is gonna be a really cool moment here. Let's see, we've got 9 raids as well, so it's gonna be kind of a cool matchup. There's also 1 Valkyrie. There's only 4 carriers here. Usually 6 is the critical mass. But, you know, when you have this big of an air force of Corsairs, which you normally would not, it is going to be a little bit of a weird ratio here. So let's find out what this is going to look like, because we're going to watch the raids come in just a second. He's hiding them.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to hide from, but it looks like he is going to try and see if he can see where the Observer is first, because there's only actually 1 Observer with this army, so if this Observer gets taken down, that's going to be... Oh my god, he's coming in.
He's going to side the Observer, he gets it!
Oh my god,
immediately kills the... Yeah, but now he needs to focus down. Oh, I guess he's going for the Corsairs instead.
Oh, there's another observer in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is when things get really, really troublesome. It looks like Radley tried to take another base as well. The Valkyries do a decent amount against the Interceptors, but the trouble is he's lost all his anti-air now. He has 4 Wraiths even, all of them incredibly low. And that Observer, he's going for the snipe. Can he get the snipe on the Observer? Yes, he does. But the Corsair final shots take down all 4 Wraiths. And Radley is in a very, very bad position now.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens, right? You go for the one big play. If it works, you kill all the carriers and stuff. If it doesn't, then you lose all your raids and have basically nothing left. And also, one of the weird things about this specifically is that he went for 1-1 air for the raids. He really committed to it. But, you know, ultimately, it also really, really did not work out. So, Bonneth wins again.
Yep, and that's going to take us into the ace match. Now, this is going to give aSh another shot at trying to get the win here for aSh. Now, aSh haven't really won that many games. They've certainly not taken any games off of teams like NetWars. We're going to see another PBT when we get back. I'm not going to say who they are. We're going to take a very quick break, and I'll see you guys in just a second. Okay, so we're back again. We're heading into the ace match between NetWars and aSh. I'm just actually typing something in the chat without looking at the same time, so hopefully that came out fine. We're going to be going into the ace match here for NetWars. Now, I did say it was a PBT. If chat want to have a quick guess at who it's going to be, I'll let you guys do that, because we'll show what the next map is going to be at least. As we have a look, we're going to be moving in to La Mancha. So La Mancha is a really cool map. We saw one PBT here so far where Jeju took down Clone Pro for aSh. So that was aSh versus White in this round. That was a couple of weeks ago. Clone Pro actually did a pretty decent job. So kind of cool to see that. But no one's actually guessing. So it's Boneth versus Hit'em We're going to see a change of tactic here and see a different Terran try their luck.
Okay, well, I mean, yeah, take two essentially. Is what we're gonna have here, and I don't know if you replay the last time we got a chance to see True Touch versus Jax. Like, if you replay that a couple of different times, I don't know if it ends the same way, Case. So I'm glad we do get a chance to kind of replay that on a different map.
Yep, I'm kind of confused why you brought up True Touch versus Jax, but here we go. We're going to be going into game number 5, the ace match here on La Mancha. Okay, now starting us off in the top right-hand position, we do have the Teal Protoss fighting for NetWars. It's going to be Boneth. And
yes, hello.
Yeah.
All right, I'm back. Sorry, my Discord crashed for some reason.
Oh, okay.
Did you introduce the player without me, Kix?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I was about to say something, and I was like, huh, Rapid must be either thinking of something or something crashed.
Yeah,
So.
I'm thinking about which. It's like, well, who could the other player be? Wait, I didn't hear who you introduced first, though.
I introduced Boneth, so...
Okay, so the other ones hit him up, as you guys might be able to see on your screen, or from having watched him play earlier, you would then know the player.
Yeah.
Sick. All right, we did the thing, Kix. Now we
did.
can talk about the game.
Yeah, we passed the first challenge of being a caster, introducing the players. Yeah. It's fine. I think that's part of the reason why when you look at like Artosis and Tasteless commentate now, they're just like, over here we got him, over here we got that. It's just, it just makes it easier. You don't have to worry about anything. But definitely in Korea, like when you watch ASL and stuff, they still do all the like fan shots of like all the signs and stuff of the different players when they're going through. That's like definitely one thing that offline events really do miss from like the sort of Korean local events and stuff. The shots of the players and the shots of the fans are just so good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the reason you do things on LAN, is because there's just nothing quite like actually having like the real people there. And in truth, these are also real people. So I do hope that we get a chance to have another one of those foreign Brood War kind of lands like there was in Moscow, because I mean that is just like that's the thing. That's the community. WCG just recently announced that they're going to have a Warcraft 3, which is super sick and huge and understandable because it's in China. But I hope that like WCG was the reason that Brood War continued to exist outside of Korea.
Yeah.
It was the biggest thing that everybody played for all year. And sure, there were other tournaments like IEF and some Stars Cups and other things like that would have non-Koreans play against Koreans. But WCG was the thing. And it got all the non-Korean Brood War players together. And it really gave them regionally something to kind of fight for. And I hope that we get more of those things coming back. It's just my own wishful thinking, because just to tie this back into your own other point, it is nice to have offline competition. And that also ties all the way back into how we introduce the players.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of piggybacking off of something we were talking about earlier, you never know, in 2050 when STPL is the biggest team league in the world, you know, we'll have a big like live LAN final or live LAN event.
Yeah.
There'll be like team houses and stuff. It'll be crazy. That's a long way off, but you know, it could get there eventually. We'll have to see what happens.
You are correct.
And there's
Could
Bonnet
get
Zealots.
Bonnet Zealots. Well, Bonnet Zealots, you know, they're worth at least 2 other. Oh my God, he gets the last hit.
Yeah, worth
Are
at
you
least
kidding
2
me?
Marines, did you say? Or was that what you were planning to say? Because if not,
Well,
you should have done.
I was gonna say worth twice as much as other Zealots. So yeah, that's about right, Kicks.
Oh my god,
And I
Proxy
think that was like a
Factory.
1 Psyblade last hit as well, but it was about as close as it gets. Now, can this Lonely Dragoon push up the ramp here, Kicks?
Well,
The
there's
answer
only
is,
2
of course,
Marines.
yes. Yes, it can, because
Yep.
Marines suck.
Yeah, Marines without Stim completely suck. And against Protoss with Stim, they suck even more because all of a sudden you get stormed and they die like within a second. We've got a tank coming in. There is going to be SCVs to repair. This as long as he repairs properly, none of the SCVs should have died. He should have brought 3 SCVs along, but this is kind of just buying time for him because he knows that he has a proxy factory coming in, and we've got mines coming in behind this. So gonna see a very quick mine push from this hidden factory up here.
Yeah.
Bonnet playing very defensively though, so these mines, it's not like we've got Bonnet's. Oh my god. Oh, okay. I thought that was the first vulture, but it was actually only the SCV. I was gonna be like, how did Bonnet move into position? Now this is when it becomes a problem because Bonnet pushes out on the map with his other 2 Dragoons, and the SCV has seen this. And all of a sudden, there's mines planted behind you. There's tanks and Marines in front of you, and here I am stuck in the middle with you. Siege mode coming up. Bonnet could be in trouble here.
Yeah, Bonnet actually is in a little bit of a rough spot because he doesn't know anything. Information is, you know, just such a valuable commodity, and he's just in the dark, literally. So, what's a godlike Protoss player supposed to do, Kicks?
Well, they need to kite this force back, which is where the mines come in, but him up still being a little bit inactive with his mines. Really needed some mines up at this natural expansion by now.
Yeah.
I think
Like
he's waiting
each
for kind of a
individual
critical
mine
mass,
places.
I think he's waiting for a large mass of vultures. There we go. He's going to get 4. He's going to push out with this. Now, 4 does mean you can actually fight Dragoons as well, but the tanks are going to come down onto the low ground. 2 of the tanks actually stuck at the back. Nice repair from the front. Now, here's where Bonnet is going to have to try and move back. Looks like we are going to have mines surrounding this Dragoon. 2 of the mines, or 2 of the vultures, I mean, they may as well be called mines, going to get into the main. That's a nice mine hit. There is a Reaver up here, so this Reaver is going to be absolutely instrumental. But he doesn't have anything that can see the mines, and the 3 Dragoons at the front, they've been forced back in a very, very odd way. And Pimup's in a decent position.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think hit him up with that proxy factory and the mines coming through. Mines are so difficult to deal with. I mean, just objectively as a Protoss player, but also early on. And so, he's got to be careful with that Shuttle and Reaver, not dropping it on a mine or near a mine. So let's see how well this Reaver is going to be able to be used to defend.
No. This could be, like, if he mine drops on top of that tank, and sudden both tanks die and the Reaver gets picked up again, that could be dangerous. But the tanks are actually on the low ground, going to be able to start shelling down on top of those factories. Now there is an observer here, so mines are suddenly not a massive problem anymore, but he still needs to be careful. This is still a lot of units.
Oh yeah, and he knows it's 1 base versus 1 base, so all you got to do is hang on here. I feel like it's mission maybe impossible here for Bonnet. He does have a Shuttle Reaver, Shuttle 2 Reavers,
yeah.
and yeah, but he doesn't have like I don't think he has shuttle speed. Yeah, he just now started it, so it's gonna be maybe a little bit hard to maneuver. Let's see how well this works out. He drops the Reaver. He does get the splash damage to take out at least one of the tanks, but there's still more. There's bunkers coming up here, Kicks.
That's an engineering bay, but the engineering bay is
Oh,
going to be pivotal.
sorry.
He needs the turrets, but here we go. Looks like another Reaver going to be dropped down from that shell. Going to kill yet another tank, but there is going to be a slow and steady reinforcement of vultures. One of the gateways has gone down, and he's relying entirely on one heavily damaged Reaver and another Reaver to really finish the game. One of the Reavers goes down. Can him up get the other? If he gets this other Reaver...
No way! What a god! Oh, he's gonna get it again. He glitches out the Reaver, but he does kill the tank. But the problem is that like the Reavers are really the only thing keeping him alive here.
Yeah,
and
the Reaver's gone down.
Oh, he's gonna try to Mind Dragoon.
Oh
my god!
How is Bonnet so good? Another Reaver pops out, another Dragoon pops out, and suddenly the lack of tanks. Oh, that's a nice mine on that Dragoon. Bonnet is still not out of trouble. He needs to make sure he keeps his probes alive now. But Hit 'em Up has actually set Bonnet back a lot. Now, are there turrets back at home? No, there's actually not. So, Hit 'em Up is still in a bit of trouble. He's going to be going for a lot of vultures to just try and continue to push Bonnet back. But he's going to need to do an incredible job. He's lost all of his tanks, and Reaver coming across the map is going to do so much to him. He doesn't have any defense against any form of Reaver aggression here. He's using nothing but pure aggression on his side to try and defend against this.
Honestly, there's the first thing on Bonnet's mind should be put a Reaver in the mineral line. He could run across the map and just straight up win the game, but he risks kind of dying, and he knows that he's in a good spot after defending here. So all he has to do is leverage that, and he is actually trying his utmost to clean this up and then go for the game-winning backstab. He needs one more hit. Oh, he gets it. All right, taking out the final tank here. And that means that Dragoons should be able to clear this up. So
the shell's going to go down. And the Observer. What a money turret right there.
Wow. Okay, that went tragically. So he desperately needs another... well, now with no Observer, it's like, well, how do you clear the mines that are already laid?
And without a shuttle, how do you go backstab? You can't backstab anymore. And that's going to give Hit 'em Up a chance to rebuild. Oh, we've actually got
actually huge.
Tank production coming in as well, so I think he's not done. Hit 'em Up is going to continue with this aggression. He does need to think about this defense, though, or he's going to be in a big amount of trouble eventually.
Honestly, as soon as the shuttle comes out, picks up the Reaver and heads across the map, like, isn't that just game over?
Unless he gets like an incredible focus on that Reaver, it pretty much is. Now, we do have a shuttle coming in finally. The big thing that Hit 'em Up's been doing this game is he's been keeping Bonnet back with constant aggression, but this constant aggression is going to end soon. Now he's actually going to pull a lot of SCVs. He's still going all in. He's got more SCVs than the Swarm base technically, so this is kind of like the final move that he wants to make. He's going to have 5 tanks overall, which is a very strong amount for the units that Bonnet has. So this still isn't looking good, but this Obs is critical.
Oh yeah, no, seeing this push is it. That's all that matters. And so for Bonnet, he just has to go into like lockdown mode, DEFCON 5, try to hang on desperately. Because if he does, the rewards are huge. The Reavers are going to be gigantic here. Look at some of these Scarab shots. They've got to be good. And they are crushing. Hit 'em Up. Pieces the scene. Godlike defense there by Bonnet, who holds an incredibly strong one-base push to take the win in the ace match for Net Wars.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of a place where we expected to go to from the beginning. Maybe not the ace match as such, but Net Wars getting another win on the table. Very, very normal for Net Wars. I mean, amazing by aSh to get to the ace match in the way they did. Hit 'em Up did a great job in that final game as well. There was just a few Scarabs, a few not misplays as such, but a few little missed moments in that game that cost Hit 'em Up the win there, and he's going to be kicking himself. And I think that's part of the reason why he left so quickly, because he must have been quite disappointed with how that went. But he was in a position where he could have killed Bonnet, and that's way better than most people can ever say.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, Net Wars themselves getting are or aSh themselves getting into a position where they could kill Net Wars is still so crazy to me. And that's why if you just look at which team won, it doesn't really tell the whole story about how close the teams are together, because I think it's pretty obvious that both of the teams are actually on this day, this little snapshot, pretty darn close together. So maybe, you know, some people got lucky, some of the matchups worked out in favorable ways, but whatever you want to say, whatever Johns you want to throw out there, this was an incredibly close series, and it just barely was held and won there by Bonneth at the very end.
Yeah, Bonneth coming through for Net Wars again. He is, of course, their captain for this round. Net Wars, I think, are the team that have had a different captain every round, which is kind of funny. Start with Koga became Radley, went Yeti, now it's Bonneth. But Bonneth leading by example here, winning both of his games against Radley and Pitmup. I mean, this is kind of the form that we need to see from Bonneth in this tournament, because Bonneth is definitely one of the best players outside of Korea, if not the best. DeWalt is definitely up there now. I mean, DeWalt's been up there with Bonneth for a while, but DeWalt's kind of forging ahead, especially with his time in Korea as well. But I mean, just overall, Bonneth is a fantastic player. We've not really seen too much of that in the STPL. It's good to be able to see that now.
Well, that's going to do it for our first series of the night. Congratulations to Net Wars for picking up their win here just barely. With that win, I believe they put themselves closer to playoff contention, but we still have plenty of weeks to go, so nothing is guaranteed.
Okay, so I am going to go for a quick break here, guys, while I set up the overlay for the next series, and I'll be back after this with Sai versus Seoul.